Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful day. There have been some interesting moves in the last week with the news, with the NFP and all that. But we will update how that has played out relative to our analysis. Right, so I hope you have made some money and you are profiting from these videos. Just something that can help you quickly when you're watching these videos. If you go to my channel, you just search up my name, Victor Manena. If you go to my channel and you type up my name, all my videos will come up. So when you watch any of my videos, you will find that there are timestamps for all the pairs that we're going to analyze here this morning. You find that they're all timestamped, so you can watch only the pairs that you are interested in. So for example, if you're only a cryptocurrency person, you can just click on the cryptocurrency timestamps, your Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum and all that. And someone who's only interested in the indices, likewise, they are all timestamps, so you don't have to search through the whole video looking for a specific pair. As you can see, we do so many pairs here in the next hour and a half. So that is what we do here, is an overview. It's like a front end of a very detailed design. So I show you an overview of each and every pair for about 2 minutes per pair. That's why this is not very detailed, but it gives you a very good indication of what the direction of the next coming sessions is like. So basically we're focusing what it looks like in the short term, but I do show you where that comes from every now and then if I need to provide clarity. All right, so this is EUROCAD. We're going to look at it a little bit later. This is playing out interestingly because the fractals are playing out very nicely here. But we'll look at this when we get to the analysis. All right, so we have got our course starting tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 11th of March. We actually moved it from the 4th of March to the 11th, which is going to be tomorrow. So the course runs for 2 weeks. So it's going to be from tomorrow up until next week, Friday. Okay, so if you're interested in the course, you can send me an email. Let me just check here if my contacts are on the description of the videos. You can send me either an email, a WhatsApp text, or a Telegram text. But the quickest you can find me is through a WhatsApp text or even an email. But all mediums, I'm able to respond fast enough with them. So you can get information about the course, about the timing of the course, the course content. So even if you are not interested in attending the course right now, if you just want to get information, you can just send me an email so I can get you the information. When you've made up your mind if you want to join, then you have information, you've got time to decide. I've got people who have been sending me inquiries for the past year, sometimes the past year and a half, and they actually decide to take the course. That's because they'll be watching the videos and checking how the accuracy of this, of the people who do their homework basically to see if this is really for them. So I don't expect somebody to just watch one video and decide they want to attend this course. You need to watch and see if you've got a need for it. Okay, so you don't just attend the course because you think there's going to be signals provided and all that. There must be a need for you to learn. And the course is mostly advanced. So you need to have at least been trading. Whether you're making money or not, it doesn't matter, but you must at least have knowledge of trading. You must have at least a strategy that you are using. So it is mainly for people that are not consistently making profit or not making profit at all. So that's why it is an advanced Elliott Wave course. But we do start from the basics that people miss out that could be critical to understanding the Elliott Wave theory. So the first 2 days of the course is basically introduction to Forex, and then we spend a day doing Fibonacci, because you cannot do Elliott Wave without understanding Fibonacci properly. All right, so that's how the course is structured. And if you are interested in joining the course, please already download the Slack app, because that is what we use, as you've seen in the previous videos. So in our Slack platform, we've got all the pairs that you could possibly want to or to trade. So if they are not here, if you are in the course and we've got a pair that we do not have on here, we just edit and we can start a discussion on that. So we've got all of that. And there's also a special channel that I use here. So we can just go straight there and how we work in Slack. So please note, you can only be in our group if you attend the course. Okay, so even if you do not attend the live course, when you join us, you get recordings of the previous videos, which means you can join us at any time, right? So you can join us at any time, because at the time that you will join, you will get the recordings of the previous course, so you can start watching while you're waiting for the live course. So the next one is from the 11th up until let me just make sure the date is from the 11th up until the 22nd of March. So the next, after this one, the next one will possibly be towards the end of April. Right, so we've got a specific channel where only I post. Everybody posts here in the channels on as you can see, Pound, JPY, and all these other pairs. So you've got traders having discussions about specific pairs. So it's not like these other platforms where you just find a clutter of traders talking about 23,000 things at once. So this is organized. So you find people that are only talking about Pound Audi in the Pound Audi channel. So it makes it more specific. All right. So if you've got an analysis on Pound Audi and you want to see how traders are looking at it, you just do the analysis and you go to the pair and you compare with others and you have a discussion with the other traders. We've got over 360 traders in the room, all of them looking at the charts the same way. All right, so this is the trade setup channel, and this is where I post my setup. These are not signals, and you are not allowed to take this before you have attended or have watched the full course. So this is Pound JPY that we took right at the bottom here. It has moved on for about 600 pips, but has now retraced all of those gains. We're going to update and see how that one has played out. And also, there was also a Bitcoin pair. This one is very interesting. I think we discussed this one last week as well. Let me just clear here. We've been discussing this one from the beginning of the year, from all of these moves, discussing how they were going to play out, including the time when you got to a setup, and then you got this move here. Now you've got the move to the downside. Now we're busy correcting here. I'm going to update this one shortly because we're going to start with Bitcoin just now. So you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves, 6, 7, 8 moves identified way before it happened. So we'll show you what the next expected move is now. All right, that is a Bitcoin, and then there was a US dollar JPY pair as well. What is this one here? Let's just check this one. This is Pound New Zealand. So Pound New Zealand, we'll update this one as well. So it looks like it has now reversed. The New Zealand and the Audi pairs are going to be very strong in the coming week. So I'm actually looking for US dollar JPY pair. It is not Euro US dollar, not this one. This is actually old. Let's go to the latest ones. This is the US dollar JPY pair that I was looking at. So this one has pushed up higher, same as the pound. It has pushed up to about, not all the way there, to about 1190, and then it has also reversed the gain. So we're going to do an update on that. It is now back around this area. Okay, it's actually back at entry. All right, so let's see how the update looks when we start with the analysis. So this is how it works. These are the trade setups that I post in the group. And we also do daily market analysis webinars Monday to Thursday for about 30 to an hour, depending on the questions and the setups that are available at the time. So that is the benefit of being in the group. So what we're doing here is an overview, but in the group we do daily market analysis, looking at specific setups, specific entry points, stops, and take profit areas. So that's how it works. So like I said, for more information, send me an email. All right, so let us start with today's analysis. So we're going to start with the cryptocurrencies, but I want to read out a statement here from the capsule summary by Frost and Prechter, just to give you an bit of an understanding on how we look at the market and how we analyze. Okay, so here you can see here I was Googling, I was searching for the term alternative in this book. All right, so let's just read the statement here and understand how this works and why I always say wait for confirmation, and then I'll give you more than one alternatives. So how does that work, and then how can you trade if you've got two alternatives? So it is actually very important for the wave when you're using the wave principle to have an alternative. So let's read this statement. So the reason why we use the wave principle is because the rules are highly specific and keep the number of valid alternatives to a minimum. How does it do that? Because we've got specific rules, we've got specific guidelines. If we trade within those, all other alternatives that do not follow the rules, that are not following the guidelines, we disqualify them, and then only the one that is most probable, that follows a high number of rules and guidelines, we afford that one the highest probability. Right, so let me just read that. The rules, as we've already read, that among the valid alternatives, the analyst will generally regard as preferred the interpretation that satisfied the largest number of guidelines. That is what I've just said, and will accord top alternative status of the interpretation satisfying the next largest number of guidelines. So even if I'm going to give you more than one alternative here, I will always show you the one with the most that is most probable, that follows that follows the most guidelines and the rules. So that's why we've got more than one alternative. So also, it is actually important to have an alternative. Why is it important? It is important to remember that while investment tactics always must go with the most valid wave count, knowledge of alternative possibilities can be extremely helpful in adjusting to unexpected events, putting them immediately into perspective and adapting to the changing market framework. How does that help you? So you don't get confused and crushed and despair when the market plays out in the way that you didn't expect, because now you've got an alternative. If one does not play out, you know it is because 1, 2, 3 was not satisfied. So that means the next alternative is now complying to more guidelines and rules than the first alternative. So that is why it is you can just switch and adjust the analysis, and the switch is always very easy because you're only looking for specific rules and guidelines. So that's what I wanted to show you this to understand how I look at this, and when I do the analysis and I show you more than one alternative. And I'm showing you this because between the euro and the pound pairs this week, there is a bit of a conflict in terms of correlation. You've got I've got some pairs that are looking upside when they are supposed to be looking downside in terms of correlation with the other. Remember, the market is not in isolation. Almost all the pairs are correlated in one way or the another. It's all about the strength of the correlation. But we'll look at this when we start just now. So now let's look at let's start with our analysis this week. We'll start with the cryptocurrencies. Let's start with Bitcoin. Right, Bitcoin. I'm going to start with the higher degree analysis again. So this is the 4-hour on Bitcoin. Let's go to the daily. So on the daily, this is what Bitcoin looks like. And I've been showing this one for the last couple of months or weeks. Right, so you have had this swing that ended towards the end of 2018. So from January of 2018, towards the end of 2017, from January 2018, Bitcoin has been in a correction, and this is how it has been correcting. It has corrected with this 3-wave move and a pullback. From there, it made a 3-wave move, 1, 2, 3, and that 3-wave move comes, this one on the red comes from the fact that you've got a running flat here. Let me draw it cleanly. I'm going to do it a bit quick. You can watch this on the previous videos because I do this almost every week, because we need to track the cryptocurrencies now because they are looking rather interesting, very interesting now. So you've got this 3-wave move. Now, how do you know if this one has ended? Is this one now the end of this swing? But the way it looks and the way we've been analyzing this, it looks like this is a continuation pattern that is going to do something like this, and then we drop, and that will be something like this, a corrective structure. So we're going to have a drop here. So we're going to have a drop here like that. So I don't draw this here. I draw it where it is, just to avoid looking like it's gonna look very risky if I do it like that. So if we drop like that, we're gonna expect this move, and this move is this one, because that will be part of the structure. Show that structure. You can see that I'm forecasting a running flat. It does not have to be a running flat only. It can be an expanding flat that breaks the top and comes back. But for now, we're only focusing a running flat because the move to the downside is still very strong. So then we'll expect a move like this. Only then will we expect this move, which is this one. Okay, only then will we expect this move. But this is a long-term forecast, as you can see, and if those who likes the numbers, who like putting the numbers, you put this one as a W, X, Y, and then your green here will be a W, your red rather, will be your ABC move. ABC is your A, B. So we'll expect this one. We'll expect this one to come up with an impulse. There's a specific reason for that. There's an ABC, and then lower degree than that, you've got 3 waves, so it's W, X, Y. Okay, so somebody who's gonna ask me, what is the difference between W, X, Y and ABC? That is what we do in the course. It's not a 1-minute explanation, it's a whole course on that. All right, it's a whole session on that. All right, so this is what it looks like. So where are we now? Now we are here. So we need to come focus in this area. This is where we've been from the beginning of 2019. So let's come and focus on this area. Let's go to the 4-hour. Now on the 4-hour, this is where we've been from the beginning of the year, and this has been looking pretty interesting. Okay. So this is where we've been. We've forecasted all these moves here. You can see we made a pulsing move. When we started the year, we had this pulsing move here. And from that pulsing move, we just kept correcting, coming down. And this has been the corrections. 1, 2, 3, would you believe? 4, 5, and then we dropped. Okay. Then we were expecting that this was going to push higher to come and retest this level here. Even if it missed it by a few pips, that's still fine. Because what are we expecting now? We're expecting that we're going to have this move here as a 1, 2, 3. Now you've got this one here also as a 1, 2, 3. Now we're expecting this one as a 1, 2, 3. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to come down and retest the low here. Okay, I'm expecting that we're going to come and retest the low. Okay, so after that, we're going to expect that move to the upside, which is that one. Then we're going to have the last move to the downside. As I've shown in the higher degree, we still want that last move to the downside. We don't know how far this one is going to go, but it's going to be as close as possible to the low. So around 1,000, around 0. It doesn't really matter when it gets there, and when the reversal comes, and we will get that confirmation. So then we'll expect that big move to the upside. Okay. So now here in the lower degree, if you wanted to label this, you'll have WXY move. So we're looking to see that if this is going to be a 1, 2, 3 wave correction and we drop. Is that what we're going to get? Let's have a look here on the 1 hour. And this is how you do it. You do it from top down. I'm not going to do this for the rest. I'm just doing for this one. Then you should have an idea how the rest will look like. So on the 1 hour, this is what this looks like. You've got a pulsing move down. You've got 1, 2, 3 waves up, 2, 3 waves back. You've got 3 waves to the upside. Could this be now the move that drops this one? Because you've got the corrective structure there. It's your corrective structure. So you've got 1. You have pulsing move, correction, and a pulsing move. Let's see if that is how that is going to play out. We'll get that confirmation. If it doesn't confirm and this starts making this structure here 1, 2, 3, then you're going to have 1 more up. But that corrective structure will still be valid. It will still be valid and it can still drop like that. So keep an eye on this structure. You don't have a setup here as yet until you get something like this and a correction that will come and retest that low here. And that is Bitcoin, and that's how you're looking at it. Litecoin. Now Litecoin, similar to Bitcoin, we're right towards the end of this corrective structure. Let's look at it in the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, this is what Litecoin looks like. You've got a simple three-wave move here. 1, 2, 3. Is this the end of the three-wave move? And now we're going to get the move to the downside, or at least a corrective structure. Let's have a look here. So this is what you have. You've got 3 waves here. 1, 2, 3. You've got 3 waves there. 1, 2, 3. You've got this, which looks like now you've got a running flat here, and this is it here. This can start dropping from here and make at least a 3-wave correction if this is not the move that's going to go down, or rather even come down. So let's not take that off. If we start coming down here, you need to look at this. I don't trade trend line, guys. This is just to show the end of the structure. Okay, this is just to show the end of the structure. So if this 3-wave move WXY has ended, you're supposed to get a passing move, you're supposed to get a corrective structure, then this should take you back to the previous low here. Okay, so that's what you're going to be looking at. Look to see if you're going to get that passing move to the downside on Litecoin. And then Ethereum. Ethereum has a similar structure to Bitcoin. As you can see, it's exactly identical. And it has even broken the top here. So Ethereum can now come and retest this low. Okay, so we've got a passing move here. We've got a passing move here. Now here looks like you've got a bit of a corrective structure. Can you do this and then do that? Making this 1, 2, 3, pulse, pulse, and then this becomes a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, so let's see how this one plays out, but we're still gonna need to get the last move to the downside and then up, as like the rest of the cryptocurrencies. So for now, watch this structure. Watch this structure and see how this one plays out. It can even play out like this, but we'll look for it to come and retest this low here. That is Ethereum. And Ripple. Ripple has been rather going sideways for the longest time now here. So let me show you the higher degree structure on this. So like all the other cryptocurrencies, Ripple ended its bullish run towards the end of 2017, and 2018 has been a corrective structure. 3 waves down, correction, correction. Another 3 waves down. Now we're looking for this one to be a corrective structure. Even though the time cycles are not the same, I'm still expecting the same structure. I want this to come and retest this low here. This is very close to that, and then I'll expect a structure like this. Why am I expecting that? Then that would be 3-wave move down, W, X, Y, X, Z. Sorry, not a Z. We may get a Z. Yeah, it's actually right. W, X, Y, X, Z. That will be the last move. Don't know how far this one is going to be, but this will be the last move to the downside. Then we're going to expect the same move as that one. Okay, so that is how we're looking at Ripple. So we wanted to retest here first, go back up and then down. Now, if you look in the lower degree on the 4-hour, you'll see that this has just been going sideways, very close to the level that we wanted to go to, but has not touched it yet. And it does not have to touch it. It can even make an explosive move from where it is currently. Let's bring it up. It doesn't have to touch that. So here is the 4-hour. We're looking for this. This could still be doing something like this. You got a corrective structure there, something like that. Then you come down and retest the low. Then you're gonna have this corrective structure here. Okay, so watch Ripple. It is just going sideways. but we want it to retest this low. Let me just make sure if this is the low that I'm talking about. Yeah, if I contract the chart, yes, we'll be looking for it to come to this low. The one in, you should have the one here that could do something like this: 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 back, 1, 2, 3 up. Then you come to this one, then it will go there. Let's do this cleanly. 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 back, 1, 2, 3 up. Come back after this one completes. Retest the one that we actually want for a bigger structure that will go back up, then last one down before we go. I should do that while you're seeing the old structure so you can see why I'm looking at it like that. Again, 1, 2, possibly 3 here. This is a continuation pattern. You come and retest the low here. Even if it breaks it slightly, it will still be fine. You come back here and retest this one here, or even this one. Actually, this one. This is what we're looking for here. We look to retest that structure at the top, then down for the last one. Then we go. This will be the Z, this will be the second X, and then we go. This is what I showed you in the higher degree. All right, so that's the cryptocurrencies and what they look like now. They're looking very clear. But be careful, there aren't really any trading setups as yet. Right, so let's go to the indices, S&P 500. So I know there's a number of requests for additional pairs, guys, but I don't really have time to do all pairs in just an hour and a half. If we have still have time towards the end of the webinar, I can cover some of the pairs for those that will remain behind here. Unfortunately, those are not going to be on the YouTube videos. Now, let's have a look at the S&P 500. Let's do a bit of a higher degree here. So on the 4 hour, you see that this is a wave 4. If you want to see the whole structure, you can watch the previous videos. Just go and click on S&P 500. You'll see why I want this to push higher and higher. Even though now we're getting a pullback, that doesn't mean anything. We're getting a bit of a pullback now. We have been looking at this as an expanding flat from the time it started coming down here. Let's show this one. So you've got here a move down here, not like that. This is the move, correction, and this is the move. So when this was coming down, we could see that it was making that expanding flat. You can see there. It's an expanding flat. An expanding flat is a continuation pattern of the original move, which is that one. Let's show this one in yellow. This is the original move. This is an expanding flat, so it's a continuation pattern. So you'll expect that after this pattern is complete, you push higher. So that's what we do with the Elliott wave theory. It's about pattern recognition for looking at things that have happened before and trade them accordingly. So now you've got a pulsing move that we're now looking to push to a wave 5, which would be the last blue wave 5. Now, even if we go to the wave 5, it does not mean that at the wave 5, guys, we are going to get a crash of the market. No, we're going to get a big correction. So the indices, even though you're going to get a move to the downside here, you're just going to get a big correction. The same way you got a correction here, not as big as that what we're going to have at the completion of wave 5. This was also a corrective structure, but people panic when they see big moves like this. Okay, but if you understand wave analysis, then you do not panic. You watch and see how that plays out. So now this is the pullback. Let's look at that pullback on the S&P 500. Looks like you've got a reversal there, but it doesn't really mean anything as yet. So this could start doing this and even do that. So watch for the corrective structure that we're going to get here. Can push up higher like that, or it can even do something like this. Retest the top, come back here, and then go. So you may go sideways for the next couple of trading sessions. This is the 4 hours, so maybe in the next coming week or two, we build this structure. So let's see what you're going to get here. All you have now is a pulsing move, which does not mean anything. So you need to get a corrective structure. So if you get a corrective structure, it's telling you that you're going to get one more down. Okay, so we'll see how this one plays out. We're getting pullbacks on all the indices. As you can see from the beginning of the year, there hasn't been any real pullback from the beginning of the year. Can you see we've been bullish for the for the whole year without a correction? There's just been small pullbacks which are opportunities for entries, but now you're getting a corrective structure. The market does not move in a straight line, so we expect this to happen. So let's see the corrective structure here. So when the correction is complete, we will see, because we have got the sequence for the corrective structure. Now that's the S&P 500. The Dow Jones is exactly the same as the S&P 500. The structure is also an expanding flat that has played out before the push higher. You're also getting a pullback there. As you can see, you're getting this pullback here after this expanding flat. It's exactly the same as the S&P 500, not difference at all. The Dow and the S&P 500, same thing they would expect, possibly that. This does not have to happen. It can even go from here, and this becomes the whole correction. Either that or this one becomes the whole correction. So let's see how this one plays out. So those are the two alternatives. Whichever one is going to confirm, we will be able to identify it. The NASDAQ, similar but slightly different. Also pulling back. Now here you can even make a case of a rounding flat or an expanding flat. If it's going to come do something like this, drops a little bit lower, makes a expanding flat like this. If it makes a structure like this, then that is a continuation pattern, and you look for more upside. Okay, so the difference between the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 is that the NASDAQ correction only started here with this 3-wave move. You can see that you've got 3 waves in the middle there. 1, 2, 3, your regular flat. Actually, a running flat that breaks the low does not break the top. So there is no relationship between this and that, like you have with the S&P 500 and the Dow, because this does not follow the guidelines. Remember, it's all about the rules and the guidelines. They make the decision for you. You don't make a decision. All right. That's the NASDAQ. Let's go through the rest. The UK 100. UK 100 also pulling back, making a corrective structure here. It went up with a 3-wave move. Got 1, 2, 3. And then we expect that it's going to correct. It has to correct. It has to correct. Whether it's going to do this first and do that, get us a corrective structure, we will be expecting a corrective structure here before we push higher. Maybe with another 3-wave move like that. Let's see how that one plays out. But we know that this is a corrective structure. Let's wait for it to play out. Not a reversal. That is UK 100. The NIFTY first before we do the DAX. NIFTY. Same also, the NIFTY has made a 3-wave move, a very clear 3-wave move if you know how to read the charts. So this here is an expanding flat. So you can see you've got a 3-wave move up, a correction, and a 3-wave move up. You expect a correction after this. Now you've got these possibilities are that you get a continuation pattern, you get something like that, and then move like that. So either that or this can do this, and this will be all the correction, and we go like that. So whichever one plays out, we should be able to confirm which one. Okay, that is the NIKKEI. Now, looking at the DAX, let's look at the DAX. Now the DAX is a clear ABC structure. 1, 2, and the 3. Now you're getting also a pullback here. This is not an aggressive move to that downside by any means. So let's see if it's going to do that, do that, do that. Then we go. It does. This is not the only structure that it can do. It can make. We've got 5 corrective structures that Elliott has identified. So any of the 5 can play out. Okay. So here I'm just focusing a regular flat. It can be a zigzag. It can be any of the 5, guys. So I'm just showing you that you're going to have a corrective structure. And you should be able to know when the corrective structure is complete and which one, with which characteristics. Okay, so you can see they're all similar, and we can see what we are expecting with all of them, all the same things. The NIFTY, it's got a very, very interesting structure, and this one is I like a lot because Okay, we also have two alternatives here, and we've shown how this one has been playing out. All these moves that have been happening here, like this one here, we focused it. This one here, we focused it. So here is what the Nifty looks like. It looks like we've got a move to the upside. It also looks like, this is the first one now, the first alternative. Look at this one, looking like a running flat. You're gonna have to take a screenshot for both the alternatives here. We're looking like we've got a bit of a continuation pattern, so which means the Nifty may push a little higher, and make a structure like this. This becomes the whole correction. This becomes the structure. Now you've got a W and a complex BX here, sorry, a complex X correction here, and then the Y. Okay, so we'll expect a three-way move here on the Y. You see, now what is the X structure? The X structure is this one. This is what makes this very interesting, as another running flat within a running flat. Now, what is the structure lower than the yellow? It is this one here in green. Can you see here? I've shown this one a couple of times. Now, you're going to see another interesting one when you come to US dollar New Zealand that we focused it, and I'm hoping that it's going to play out the way we focused it, because if it does, then it's going to be a lot of money. So now you can put in a lot of letters here according to the degrees and the structure. Here you've got A, B, C in yellow. You've got A, B, C in green, if you like to put in letters, but letters I only do for you guys so you can see the structure. You don't even have to put in the letters if you know the structure, because it's all about patterns, right? So A, B, C structure. You can do this as low as possible, to a lower degree, as low as possible and as high as possible with the fractals unfolding. So it looks very interesting. Can you see? You can do this another one here. You can also label this one also. They are all ABCs. I'm using the same degree for the labeling, but they are all lower degrees. So you can just identify them with the structures. You can even go lower than that. Let's see if we can get another color here. Let's use white here this time. You have this one here also. 1, 2, 3. So this process can go on and on and on. Even the higher degree, it can go on and on and on like that. So now let's look at what could happen in the higher degree. So in the higher degree, you've got this one here. You've got this one as a whole correction. Maybe you come here and retest this. And this process, it's a cycle. This is what I always mean by cycle. It keeps going and going, unfolding and unfolding. So we should be able to go from the outside to the lower degree to understand what's going to happen outside, or the other way around. So that's why we don't just go to a chart and look at the scene and start labeling. You need to understand the whole scene, okay, from historical data. Now this one is looking very interesting as well. So the next move, check what happens here if you're going to get a slight push higher. That is the Nifty. And lastly, Sun Pharmaceutical. I do this for my Indian traders. One of my Indian traders who's interested in this pair. So we're still correcting with this move here. We've got a running flat here. You've got a 1, 2, 3-wave structure. It's time for a correction here. It's time for a correction. You can see that I just put in a flag for a correction. It can be any corrective structure. And then we get another move to the upside. Then that will be possibly a WXY structure. And then we drop. So watch out for a corrective structure here. All right, so now let's go to the majors. This is where it starts getting interesting. There's been some interesting moves on the euro because of the NFP and the euro news. Let's see how this one has played out now and what the structure is going to look possibly. Okay, so let's have a look there. Now the euro, you need to look at these two alternatives very carefully, because you need to track it and mark your charts as well. Right, so we are looking at this corrective structure here and looking for something like this. Okay, so let's see if we're going to get that structure. If this is not the structure, if we don't get this upside, how are we going to know that upside is not going to come? Even if you get a corrective structure here, you can get something like this, and this will be correcting on this low here. This will be correcting on the low. Let me do it again. This will be correcting here on the low like that. It can be a 3-wave pullback for further downside. Now, the possibilities are that if we're going to get that one as a structure, if this one, this is actually my second alternative, guys. I'm going to show you my first alternative. If that one plays out like that, that means that this is now going to be an ending diagonal. You're going to have an ending diagonal, which is going to be a wave 5. Okay, so why would that be a wave 5? Let me show you the whole structure on the daily. Second alternative, guys. Remember what we've been looking at on the euro is this structure. This structure has got 5 waves to the downside. Now, this has, so this, let's make it a little bit bigger so it can be crystal clear. All right, so this is the structure. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if this now starts going down as a ending diagonal, that means you've got this as a wave 5. Okay, you got this one as a wave 5, and your wave 4 comes here. Okay, let me show that one with annotation. Let me just put in, before I take it off, let me put the numbers in red in the annotation so you can see where that comes from. Then this becomes a 3, 4, and then a 5, 1, 2. Let's take this off now so you can see what this will mean. So you could have this one as a wave 4 running flat. Okay, a wave 4 running flat, and then you get this one coming down as a diagonal wave 5. Then that will mean that the correction that we wanted to be here will now only happen here in wave 5. That is if this one starts correcting at the low here. Okay, so that becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second alternative, let's show you. I'm gonna adjust from here. Let's say this is not a wave 5. This is not a wave 4. Our wave 4 is still here. 3, 4, and a 5, where we've had it previously. Now, this is what we've been looking at as the first alternative, that we are getting a corrective structure here currently. We're getting a corrective structure there, and that corrective structure looks like something like this: 1, 2, 3. Now here you've got a running flat. Here you've got 1, 2, 3. That looks like a zigzag. 1, 2, 3. Now you can see that it tagged the low here and started a big candle to the upside. There's a possibility that you get this move to the upside. How are you gonna know if you're gonna get a move to the upside? If you get a pulsing move here and a corrective structure in the lower degree, then that tells you that you're possibly going to retest the previous high there. And those are the two alternatives and how you should be looking at the euro and the DXY. Now look, if we look at the DXY, it's got the exact same structure. 1, 2, and a 3. That's what we're going to be expecting to possibly come and retest not this one there. 1, 2, 3, 1. Let me mark the running flat process properly here, like that. My mouse is a bit skew, or is it it's my hand that's rather skew. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now there's a possibility that we get this one here. Now also the same here, you need to get a pulsing move. We already have what looks like a pulsing move to the upside here. If this is going to be the structure, and then that's going to be our move to the upside. Now this is going to be, that's that first alternative that we have, where the wave 5 is here. But otherwise, if we get a continuation here, that means our wave 5 would have ended. Let's show this one here. The same way we had it on euro US dollar, we're going to have this one looking like an ending diagonal there. And that means our wave 4 is going to be here. And then you expect your wave 5 to be there. Let me show it again with annotation: 3, 4, 5. See how clear this is? 1, 2, same as with the euro. It's exactly the same thing because they are now correlated. So now your wave 4 becomes this running flat. Now if this is going to go up, it needs to go up with this ending diagonal or a pulsing move. It cannot be pulsing anymore because it's already corrective but it's a motive wave. So that's how we're going to look at these two possibilities. So how are you going to know that it's going to continue to the upside? That is if it starts correcting at current levels. And this is the current levels here. If it does not make an impulsing move and a correction and starts correcting there, then you know you're going for the wave 5. Okay, guys, who've attended the course know how we project the wave 5. And that's how you're going to be looking at these two pairs. Now let's run through the rest. I think if you've got an idea what the Euro and the DXY is doing, the rest becomes a little bit easier now. Let's look at USDCAD. USDCAD, this is still valid. This is still valid. Zigzag. It's still within the guidelines, so you can still get a move like this. So let's see how this one plays out. You've got a pulsing move in the opposite direction. You've got a pulsing move in wave 4. In the 4 hour. But if this becomes corrective and starts pushing higher, this is going to invalidate this there. What looks like a flat. You can call it a flat correction. But if it starts pushing higher here, we are going to invalidate this as a corrective structure. So we were looking at it as a 1, 2, 3 here, or possibly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. A correction, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that will all depend on how this one plays out now. Are we going to get a move to the downside? We have not even got a pulsing move to the downside. So there is no confirmation of downside there. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. Let's see if we're going to have any signs of reversal. Nothing yet that confirms that this is going to reverse. You need a clear pulsing move and a corrective structure for downside. Otherwise, if you get a corrective structure here, you're going to get continuation to the upside, and downside is invalidated. So we're going to update that when this structure plays out. So wait for this to play out. USDCHF. Last week, the forecast was this one, was that this one is going to push out higher and come and retest this. That has happened. Now look for this one to possibly come and retest the low here. So if this is what is going to happen here with USDCHF, I also said the same thing last week. Watch USDCHF for what the Euro is going to do. If USDCHF was going to push up higher, the Euro was going to push lower. Go and watch that video. This is exactly what I said. So now the USDCHF pushed higher. Now there's a likelihood that USDCHF now pushes lower, even with an impulsive move. So if that is the case, that means that first alternative that we're looking at on the Euro, where we're looking at for it to go and test the previous high, is going to happen. Okay, so now when this drops here, now go and watch USDCHF. This will give you an idea what the Euro is doing. You also have this move here on the Euro, a pulsing move on the Euro. I think I even put the Euro and the chief on the same screen last week. Let me do it again here. And this is why you need to trade the whole market and not single pairs, because they're all correlated. Let's see if we can get that here. Right, so I've got the chief on the right. I'm going to have the Euro on the right hand side. You see here, you already have a pulsing move to the upside. Here you've got a pulsing move to the downside. Now, what do you need to do? You need to wait for this to do this here. You need to wait for this one. So one can be lagging. One can be lagging. You will need to wait for this here to do this. This will tell you if you're going to drop. This will tell you if you're going to push higher. Okay, so you may be lucky and you find that the chief does its move and go down first before the Euro pushes up higher. So you know that if the chief had gone down, if the Euro has gone down, I've got the same pairs, guys, sorry. It's chief on the left-hand side and Euro on the right-hand side. So you may be lucky and find the Euro has made the move to the downside. And if it does that, then you know that the Euro will follow suit. Okay, so US dollar chief can be first and Euro US dollar can be second. And if this one goes and before this one, you can just come and buy this one because it's gonna follow this. Okay, so that's how you look at that. Let's go back to single charts. Very clear. Let's see this something on the chat box. Okay, somebody's just talking about divergence. All right, so it's Brent. Okay, let's carry on there. That's the Euro. Let's go back to single charts. Okay, I'm gonna do pound US dollar last for a reason. Let's look at AUD. Now AUD is interesting. Gold is looking up, AUD should be looking up as well. So let's look here. Now this is the trade for next week. If you get this to break out of this structure, guys, that's the trade. You're going to be looking to retest the previous high here. Because what you have here is a 1, 2, 3 wave move. It's actually a 5-way move to the upside. You've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Now you're getting a corrective structure there. This corrective structure looks to have completed here. Now, if you get this one breaking out of this and making a correction here, you're going all the way back to the previous high. Watch this. Watch this. You could be coming back up here. Okay. Not with that color, but with this one. Okay. That's Audi. And the New Zealand is very interesting. Check what I showed last week. I said I'm putting up a couple of lines here. You need to see how they're gonna if they're gonna comply with the structure. Now I showed you this structure, and before I show you the lines that I was showing, let me show you the structure that we looked at. So last week we looked at this one, and it was coming down here. Said this is gonna come and retest their low here, and we'll expect this one to come back up here like that. We'll expect this to come back down here like that, giving us the structure. You'll see those lines when I switch them on now. And then we'll expect possibly a 1, 2, 3, which is this one here, 1, 2, 3. This becomes now a bigger structure like this one. After that, you'll expect that you will have this move, and this becomes the whole correction. And this one becomes here, it comes down here before we get a push higher. Now, what we had last week, we were here, we've dropped, and then we're reversing. Okay, are we gonna get all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? If we get all of this, guys, then you guys are gonna owe me all a Coke or something. Because now after this corrective structure here, you're gonna get this big move down, you're gonna get that big move to the downside, sorry, to the upside. So you're gonna have two pulsing moves, 1 and the 2. All right, so now this is what I showed last week. Go watch last week's video. I was a bit more detailed on this one than I am right now. So you have got here currently the move down. I have not removed those lines. That's just how we focused it last week. You've come down here now. You're moving to the upside. Now the trade for the next coming session, and this will confirm Euro upside as well. If this is going up, is this one. You're looking for this one. Okay, after that, we're going to look for this one. After that, and then we're going to be looking at it like this. So those are the trades for the next couple of sessions that we're going to be looking at on this space. Right, the next one will be, I think that's all now. Let's look at pound US dollar. Pound US dollar is rather interesting as well. So if we are going to have upside on the euro and weakness on the dollar, this we may look at as a running flat, and it's right on the trend line that will then push up higher to that level. So that will invalidate this running flat that we were looking at. Okay, so let's switch this off. Now I'm going to show you those two alternatives. So if this plays out as a running flat, we are invalidating this as a running flat. So this is a running flat there. And if we get this one start pushing higher from current levels, because the euro is looking rather strong against the dollar, so the pound may be a little bit stronger in the against the dollar as well. So we're going to be looking at this one. But looking at all the pound pairs, we wanted to get pushes, the last push to the upside and then down, but it looks like they've all reversed. So if that is the case, you are going to get a corrective structure here. And getting a corrective structure on the line, on the trend line here, that will show you that the structure has completed. Okay. So if you get a corrective structure here, that means the structure is completed and we're looking downside. We're going to do all the pound pairs shortly after the yen pairs, but let's first do the yen pairs. For that, we'll do the US dollar ZAR. So US dollar ZAR has made this 3-wave move. We've got this 3-wave move now after that whole corrective structure. Looks like it's still going to push a little bit higher. It's just a pullback here. Still going to push a little bit higher. And then we're going to I think it may even just continue here. It may even just continue and go retest the previous high there, but it won't go in a straight line. At some point here, it will give you a deeper correction before reaching that level. Okay, so keep an eye and see if we're gonna get that correction here on the ZAR. All right, let's look at the yen pairs. We'll look at pound JPY. Pound JPY is the one that we took at around 142. Now, we wanted this to go all the way 156. Has not changed the view yet, just because it's correcting. 1, 2, 3. Now, we've got this move here. So if this is correcting, or if this is going to change the structure, is if this starts making a correction here and coming down here. So, but I don't expect that this is going to go all the way, unless this is now the expanding flat, which does not look likely. So this will be the expanding flat. If it is, then we're going to have one more down here on the pound. Okay, but let's first watch to see the correct kind of structure that we're going to have here. Okay, so all the 600 pips that we had gained here, it has now reversed all of that. Okay, but I hope you have protected those profits, because every time it corrects, you must be moving your stop to break even. So now, what is the next thing to watch here? We need to watch the structure that's going to develop here. Are we going to get continuation here? Are we going to get a passing move here? Let's show this one in the 1 hour. In the 1 hour, this looks like a three-wave move. Still looks like a three-wave move, so it can still reverse from current levels. But according to our strategy and the system that we use, this does not show any signs of reversal. But let's watch first to see if this is going to do that and push higher. Or alternatively, if you're going to get a correction here, you wait for the two things, either for an impulse or a correction. One of the two will confirm the direction for you. Right, USDJPY, the same. Also, we bought this one after this corrective structure, and then we expected a push higher. Now, this one has got a very clear sequence. Let's switch on the sequence here. We're still looking for this one to push for the last move to the upside. Can this move push higher like that? Because you've got a 1, a 2, and a 3 wave move there, and you've got clear lower degree structures here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Need to separate them. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and we're looking for this one to be a 3. And this one is lower degree. It needs to be a 1, a 2, and a 3. So let's see if we're going to get here a corrective structure, a pulse in the corrective structure for upside. So watch US dollar JPY for this move. Looks like you've got this one already, so you could be looking to buy this one. So just move your stop to break even at that level, because this can be a three-wave pullback and it continues with the move to the downside. So not very clear at this stage now. All right, so that's US dollar JPY, euro. The euro, you've got a three-wave up. 1, 2, 3. Because the euro may be strong in the next week, you may be getting this one to make another 1, 2, 3 here, making these three waves WXY. That all can be a corrective structure, but let's watch and see what that does. That is the EUROCHF. Sorry guys, I need to show you the higher degree on the euro. Let me show you the higher degree on the euro. The reason why I want to show you is because there's a possibility of this making this, show this expanding flat there. This as an expanding flat. If it is the case, then you can get a bit of a push higher. Okay. So what does this mean? So the structure you have here is that this would have been your corrective structure. This would have been your C wave. This would have been your A wave. So it's a move like this. A pulse, a correction, and another pulse. Now it looks like you're reversing. Let's switch this off here. So you may not necessarily reverse it. You may just make a corrective structure. Possibly something like this. and then a push higher. Because for it to just come down like that will not necessarily make sense. But let's see what you have here. If it's going to make a W, a X, which is possibly going to be a deep pullback because of this pulsing move, and then a Y, making this a decent three-wave move. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm out of space, guys. Doesn't mean that it's going to go to the price area. All right. So that is EURJPY. Let's look at the rest of the pairs. AUDJPY. Now, Audi is, like I said, Audi and New Zealand are looking strong for the next coming sessions. You've got a pulsing move there. Look for a corrective structure, at least a move around this level, because now you've got a 1, you've got a 2, you've got this one doing this here now. And then this may do that, which is this one. From there, you have this one. See how complex it gets? 1, 2, 3. Before we go, the same, similar to what I was doing with Audi US dollar. So you still have going to have a number of moves within this one here, but let's check the immediate one because that will give you a direction of what's going to happen next. So you've got this one here, you're going to look for a bit of a move to the upside. Gold is looking strong with silver, so that's expected that Audi and New Zealand push higher. New Zealand, already a passing move as well. Already a passing move, getting out of this structure, looking for this correction to come and retest the top here. Okay, daily on New Zealand to show structure. So New Zealand has made a passing move. 1 could be doing that. That would be a running flat if it starts pushing from current levels like that. Okay. New Zealand JPY. CAD. CAD also need to see if this is a running flat. If not, we are going to drop with a corrective structure. Okay, but for now, if it's a running flat, we're going to push a little bit higher, making this a 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's watch this. Okay, that will be invalidated if we start correcting here at current levels, because then that will do that. That will do that. It will still not be a downside. It will still be a corrective structure. 1, 2, 3. It's just a matter of how the correction is going to play out. Now let's look at silver and gold. We'll start with gold. Gold, remember, we wanted this structure. We wanted a triangle here. Doesn't look like the triangle is gonna, okay. We said that the triangle is not playing out if it does not come to the upper boundary here like that, because we don't force it, because if you put it there like this, you're forcing the triangle. You've got this one popping up above that. So it's not correct. So you don't force anything. It must play out naturally as it should. So now if this is now going to be a triangle, let's see if it's gonna start being valid now. You're still looking for this one to be a triangle. So if this is the case, you may get this one. You already have an impulse here. You may get this one doing that corrective structure. Come back to the upper boundary. Now you will have 1. Now you'll have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This one is pulsing. It's fine. You can accept one pulsing move within a triangle. 1, 2, 3. So now that becomes A, B, C, D. Come back for 1, E, and then we go for that one. So that will be 1, 2, 3 up, correction, 1, 2, 3 up. Then that will make that structure, and then we look for the last down on gold. Okay, so that's the structure. So you can see when this does not comply to the guidelines, we're already saying the triangle may not happen here. But now it looks like we've got a pulsing move in the opposite direction. Is it now going to retest that top? Let's see if that's what we're going to get. The upper boundary of the triangle. Last week we were actually thinking that this is going to be 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to have 1 down, and then we start getting that corrective structure like that. But it doesn't matter. We've got the structure as it is. Now look for corrective structure. At least come back to the 61 of this. Okay, that's gold, silver. Same thing, you've got a pulsing move after this corrective structure. We mentioned this corrective structure last week. Now this one has got a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now you have pulsing move, corrective structure here. Why is the corrective structure in this time frame on the 1 hour for upside? Now let's look at the pound pairs. Looking at the pound pairs, pound CHF is exactly identical to pound US dollar. They're almost at parity here, but 70 pips apart in terms of value. Let's have a look here. So there are two alternatives on pound CHF as well. Either this is a expanding flat and this is now completed and we're gonna drop. Okay, making this a 1, a 2, a 3. Or if it's still gonna push higher, we'll see by correcting here. For now, we need to watch. Let's go to the lower time frame and see if we're getting a continuation or if we're getting a pullback there. Let's go for hour. Now it's difficult to see if this is the actual corrective structure, or if this is gonna go from there. Okay, so you have this 1, 2, 3 there. Let's see if we're gonna get away. Maybe this. If we start doing this and we start pushing higher again, expanding flat is invalidated and we're gonna change the structure. Okay, but then if we start correcting from there and we start dropping, you don't have a setup here for a sell, so we're gonna have to watch this one. That's pound CHF. Let's do the rest of the year pound pairs. Now this one, we expected that it was gonna push higher. One more before we drop. Okay, so we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3. Strengthen the New Zealand and the AUD in the coming sessions. Got corrective structure here. Got this one here. 3 waves. So there's a likelihood, because remember this is a W, this is a X. The structure here can still be valid if this is going to do that, and that. That is still a valid WXY. A zigzag combined with a whichever flat correction is going to be. So whichever one is going to be, that can still be a valid structure. And if that is a corrective structure, when that is done there, we should expect downside with this move. Okay. So now the trick, the idea for the next coming sessions is to wait out the next move. See what you're going to get there. Okay. So that's pound New Zealand, pound Audi, the same. Now pound Audi should give us, and the rest of the pound pairs, clear direction, because this one looks rather perfect in terms of structure. Here you are going to wait for this corrective structure as well. It has tested, as you've seen, we wanted it to retest the previous high. It has done so and reversed immediately. Now if it starts getting a corrective structure there, then this move here to the upside will be complete. Then we'll start looking for downside. Okay, remember the pound Audi structure, this one that I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. We actually wanted that one to retest the previous top there with the structure like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now this is WXY, XH, WX, Y, X, Z. It's just touched and reversed. That's what we wanted. Are we going to get a corrective structure? Then that means this has completed and we're going to get a big move to at least come and retest the low here. Okay, so let's see what we get here. Don't miss this one here. Let's get an entry point, even if it's not going to be the one. At least move your stop to break even. So if it's going to make one up, you don't lose the trade. Remember, I showed you last week that this one can push a little bit higher. Last week, I showed you that this can push a little bit higher. Even though this one is retested and looks like a reversal, it can still do this. Okay, you can see what happened there. That same thing can happen, but this time for many, many pips to the downside. It's pound Audi, pound CAD. Pound CAD as well has made a reversal after that whole structure. corrective structure here. And we looked at the structure very interestingly, like this. A move to the upside in 3 waves, a move in 3 waves. The 3-way move there is this one. 1, 2, 3. And in this case here, you've got, let's see here, 1, 2, and the third one ends with this one. Okay, so now, is this the end of the corrective structure? Okay, and then we're going to expect a reversal there. Let's see if we're going to get a corrective structure. So if we get a corrective structure, then this corrective structure that has been playing out since September last year would have ended, and then we'll look for this to come down. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. So please give me a 1 second, guys. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at. It's simple to wait for in the next coming sessions. You don't rush in, you wait for the current structures to play out. That will give you a clear direction. Okay, so that is a pound CAD. That concludes all the pound pairs. Let's look at the euros, euro pound. Welcome, Harry. Now, euro pound. Still the same structure that we've been looking at for a while. We've adjusted slightly last week to make this structure, and we're looking for this one to complete, 1 down. Now, is the euro gonna come back for 1 down here? If that is the case, that means the pound are gonna look to give us 1 more up, and then we're gonna start that drop. Okay, so let's see if we're gonna get to the blue box. So this one will give us an indication what to expect. Okay, you're getting a corrective structure there, so that may be a continuation pattern. Look at it in the 4-hour. So that is a 3-wave corrective structure. Let's expect this one to come down here. That will be the last move on the pound pairs. Okay, let's do the rest of the euro pairs. EURAUD. EURAUD, let's look here. It is making this corrective structure currently. We've got a pulsing move here from the all-time highs there, the previous high rather. And you've got this one as a 1, 2, 3 wave move up. Now, we don't know if this is going to be now another 1, 2, 3 waves, that, and then we get another 3-wave move to the upside like that. Before we get that, and then another move to the upside. Because this is a pulse and this is a corrective structure. So now what you wait for is for this corrective structure to complete. This one here. Wait for it to complete. Because you may get 1 corrective structure, 2, and even come and retest the top here. Okay, so the Audi is going to be strong in the next coming session. So we'll expect this one to drop slightly. So we've got 1 here, you've got 2. It could be like this, actually. You've got a pulsing move down. Wait for this corrective structure and at least come down to this level. I know the Euro US dollar, we're looking now for upside, but this one may be coming down because of the strong Audi. Okay, let's watch this one. New Zealand. So it's clear here, you need to wait for this flag. May come back here. Okay, so New Zealand, Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand. We're looking for it to come down here. Strong Audi and New Zealand in the next coming sessions. So you'll be looking for this one to keep dropping to around that level. EURCAD. pulsing move to the downside. Now, EUROCAD, I have to show you this. What I showed you, I think, I don't know if I showed it for 2 weeks or just last week. Showed you this fractal that was happening here. I don't know how many of you remember this. I don't know how many of you remember this. Let's switch it on. Remember we had this move here. We had this corrective structure here. I showed last week that you've got this move here and we expected the same move here. After that corrective structure, we expected a drop. After this corrective structure, we expected a drop. The same thing we're expecting now. And this is what I showed you last week. I showed you this fractals. How many of you remember this? You should understand whether the market is reversing or is pulling back. This was a pullback, and this is now how this is playing out. Here we need to make an adjustment. The X should be here. Now this is a 3-wave move here. 1, 2, 3. Pulsing move down, a correction. Pulsing move down, correction, and then we drop. What do we expect? The drop here again as well. So now if you go to the 4-hour, you'll expect a corrective structure for continuation to the downside. Okay, you already have a pulsing move to the downside. Let's switch this off now. You already have a pulsing move to the downside. Watch this corrective structure. You already have a pullback here, which is what you wanted. Now you've got a pulsing move. Wait for this corrective structure to enter downside. Now this is a nice trade setup to enter. Even if you need to move a break even, or to stop to break even when you get to that level. There's a reason why we do that. Okay, corrective structure there. EURJPY. EURJPY is now making a corrective structure after the 3-wave move up. So we had this 3-wave move up that we identified. You see that? We've got 1, 2, 3 up. Now we need to understand what this corrective structure looks like now. This here you had a clear 1, 3 waves there. 1, 2, 3, and then a pulsing move to the upside. So you had a WXY move here. Now you're getting this corrective structure. What does this corrective structure look like? Is this going to do that? Make a structure like this, 1, all this correction, 2. So maybe that's why the euro is pushing a little bit higher. Then you get that. Then you get that. And then you get another one that looks like that. Okay, I can remove the yellow just so you can see first. And then we'll bring it back with straight lines. That is your yellow, W, X, Y. So you see when you focused here, we're looking at long-term structures forecasted, right? So here, this we'll look for this to possibly push a little bit higher. It's a little bit tricky here because you're not getting a setup for a reversal. Let's watch and see what happens when the market opens. See if we're gonna get any indication here of a reversal at this level. That's EURJPY. Concludes all the euros. Let's look at some of the cross pairs. We'll start with the Audi New Zealand because we've been tracking this one for a while now. Go to the daily on this one. Harry, please do assist with the timestamps. If you do have time, please. Really helping me a lot. Thank you. All right. So this is what we're looking at on this one. So this is now Audi New Zealand. It keeps dropping like this. At some point, the Audi is looking strong in the next coming sessions. But the New Zealand is also strong. So it's going to be interesting how this one plays out. At some point, this may do this and come back and retest the low. Let me show you the low here that we are expecting here. So you had a pulsing move here, and we thought this is the one that was going to go, but it didn't go. So we've got a pulsing move and this very deep corrective structure. This can do this and come back here to this low. Let's show that low. This one there. Very straight. Why do we want it to come down to this low? It's because we have got here, we've got a pulsing move here. From that pulsing move, we have been correcting with this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we also have 1, 2, 3. Okay, I should have done this in a different color. Let me use green here, or rather a different color. Let me use red for this one. There will be a continuation pattern, and we remove that in yellow so it does not look the same. See, so this is why I'm expecting a continuation pattern to come and retest this. What will that do? If you get something like that, what you're showing there is this structure. A W, X, and a Y. And that whole WXY is correcting the whole move, this blue WXY. Now you get blue, up, and then you're going to look for downside. Now this is going to be your A, your B, your C, and then your last wave to the downside, which is related to this. So this is why we're looking for this one to make continuation to the downside. Now let's go back there to this area and see what we're getting on the 4-hour. So I'm spending a bit of time on this one. So the 4-hour, because of the strength on the Audi and the New Zealand, you may get this one to do that, come back here. Up, then come down. So let's see what happens there. Not set up there, but we'll be looking for this structure. If this one completes, we'll be looking for downside. That's Audi New Zealand. And then New Zealand CAD. So New Zealand CAD has made a 5-wave up. Can you see clear 5-wave moves to the upside? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're pulling back with 3 waves. You're pulling back with this corrective structure. I'm not going to go into the details. We're going to update this one next week, and then we'll look for this one to drop. So the CAD, we'll look for it to drop after this corrective structure. We'll figure out this structure. AUDCAD. See, AUDCAD is similar to Audi New Zealand. You've got a pulsing move here. You've got this one correcting. This is going to make this and then come back down here. At the break out of this, Audi will look for this one to push up higher. But because the Audi is strong, it can't even push from the current levels. Watch this one here. Making this 1, 2, 3. That's AUDCAD. Any other CAD pad? CADCHF. Let's look at CADCHF. CADCHF, interesting. 1, 2, 3. We've got a pulsing move. Can we get a corrective structure there and push back? You can see the opposite. Here the CAD is the base pair. On the other pairs it was a coated pair, and they were all looking downside. Here it's coated, it's base, and then you're looking upside. So it's just the opposite. So it's showing you one thing about the CAD, that it's going to be strong in the short term at least. All right, that is CADCHF, AUDCHF. The same. Getting a 3-wave pullback. 1. Let's get back to our yellow color. You get 1, you got 2, you got 3. This may push a little bit higher. Okay, the chief is looking rather weak in the coming sessions. So this may be a nice trade to the upside. Watch it. Any other pair missing? I think we're only left with oil. Let's look at oil. Let's look at Brent crude oil. All right, so Brent crude oil, we wanted to get a pullback from here. I think it was a week back, previous week. We wanted it to do this and that. That's okay if it didn't do that. You still have this pullback. You still have this pulsing move. 1, 2, you expect this. Now you also have this 1, 2, 3. Then you possibly have this, and then a push higher. All of that is just making a corrective structure. That's it. So when oil starts completing, when oil completes this corrective structure, you're going to look for upside, and then you're going to look for downside on USD CAD, and all the other pairs that has got CAD as the quoted pair, you're going to start looking for downside. Simple as that. Watch this structure on oil. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining me. good luck. You can see you need to wait a bit for the next coming sessions before you get involved in these trades. Thank you very much. Don't forget to hit the subscribe on that like button so you can get a notification next time I post the video. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.